Hello, it is I, that one mug. Thank you for joining me on week 2 of the PBO, hosted by Soaring, flying, the god of questionable subtitles himself. You should check him out down below. He has some good shorts. This is my take 2 of this video, this battle. I actually went through all 24 minutes. We talked about it, went in depth and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't unhappy with how it turned out. I missed out on some things. I felt like I should be more fair to the viewing experience and give it another go. So this week's opponents are the Norwalk Noiverns, and before I get into it, I want to give a shout out to all the problems that happened before this battle. So Norwalk was, I believe, prepared for this battle, and then his computer and hard drive and everything decided they just wanted to give up on life. And I felt that. Me too. Me fucking too. I also want to give up on life. But his just absolutely shit the bed. His team, his cookie, everything just died with it in a burning flame. Wasn't glorious, unfortunately. And if I had to reenact it, it'd be pretty overdramatic. Now, so he brought it. He made a team in about 5-ish minutes, and you're going to see some faults with it because it was rushed. And as far as my team, I'm going to make the excuse that I was hyper-specific on a very specific team that he could bring, in so much so that I did not prepare not one bit for this muck. I also didn't for Golem, but even in this battle, Golem wasn't much of a threat. But this muck, as a spoiler warning, was a problem. But other than that, his Alola Ninetales, he forgot to put on Snow Warning, so he's only coming into this with 3 moves and no ability. And my team was built, and his team was just built in 5 minutes. And my team, I believe I made some mistakes in the battle, but I think most of my mistakes is I put too many eggs in one basket for one very specific team, because in all the mockings that I did over the week, I was getting ran by Satitan, just taking advantage of snow, going to Terra Water, and then just running me with Slush Rush. And then, and if I had, if I built my team to counter it with like Alteria's, Cloud9, Haze, etc., I was just then losing to the B team of Uxie, Chandelure, and Basculin. Basculin always just did 80% to at minimum outside of Cresselia just for the fun of it, and other than that, just killed everything because it could, because my speed tiers were not up to par to handle a fish. And then Uxie just was a wall. I could not really break Uxie, and there's too many sets that I could not plan for all of them. And so I built for very hyper-specific. Lilligant is Choice Scarf Sleep Powder. Ting Lu is Rocks, Spikes, Protect. All my Pokemon besides Lilligant does have Protect. Cinderace is Leftovers, Swords Dance. Yeah, it is a very awkward team to use. I don't have Psychic for the muck. I don't have Earthquake for the muck. His team is very weak to Earthquake, so I wish I did. So yeah, with me hyper prepped for one specific team and his barely prepped at all, you're in for a very long battle. I think it was 61 turns. I will try my best to talk about speed over the more boring parts and then talk over the parts that I think mattered the most. Let's get into it. Oh, before I forget, I am bringing Beelzebolt, the Bellybolt, Bourbon, the Cinderace, Good Horse, the Ting Lu, Craggy Kong, the Garganical, Liliana, the Lilligant, and of course, our goddess, Mama Nyx, the Cresselia. The only Pokemon I will ever shiny. Now, last week, actually, I accidentally shinied Fion. Maybe it was a good omen. Maybe it was a happy accident. It was not intentional. I did not point that out in last week's video because I forgot until this moment. But let's get into it. I sent out with Mama Nyx. He sends out Bread, the Alolan Golem I Protect, to see if he's going to try to just blow up right away. He does not. He gets out to Rocks. So I just Terra Electric, thinking Thunder Wave or Explosion. And then I Calm Mind. He then goes into Alola Ninetales, which I think he's going to Encore, especially after seeing me Calm Mind twice. So I Protect scout it to see if he's going to Encore, and it is. Also, this is the first time we learn that he is, in fact, Snow Cloak instead of Snow Warning. So that played, keep that in the back of your minds. I get into Craggy. He then goes into the Magnet Zone, and I because of all my protect mons, I can just protect, get some free chip damage on Soul Cure. Now it's down to 43%, and I block its Volt Switch. It then Volt Switches out into the Golem Alola. I recover to get back to full. I think it's going to explode here, so I protect. Now he Thunder Waves. Now I want to give him credit where credit is due. I don't know if he forgot that I cannot be statused, or maybe he thought maybe I chose an ability that didn't matter if I was status. I am not 100% sure if he knew Garg's ability, or if he knew and he thought that as maybe I was going to say Cinderace and he just wanted to cripple it. It's hard to truly say. I felt like Thunder Wave, especially after saying that I have a ground type, a Belly Bolt, and now a Terra Electric. So I have 4 mons that cannot be paralyzed. That the Thunder Wave maybe, like, I think maybe he was just doing on the off chance I did it against Cinderace. But with that said, I did not protect against the explosion, but instead it's protected against a Thunder Wave. That did not matter. He exploded. I went to Iron Defense. I'm now at 20%, 8% because of the leftovers. He went to Chandelier. I protected to see what he's going to do. He does not go for Energy Ball. He goes for Shadow Ball. It's like, okay, he does not have Energy Ball. So because he has Shadow Ball, because of my ability, I'm not going to take much damage out of it. I can then go for Assault Cure. Get some good chip damage on it. Now it's down to less than half. I go protect. It failed. It meant nothing. It's okay because I go into Cresselia expecting the Volt Switch. He does go for the Volt Switch. I take nothing because I'm part electric. It goes back into Chandelure. So I protect. It goes for Overheat. At this point, I believe that I learned that it was probably Choice Specs, especially with the damage that Shadow Ball is doing and the fact that it did not go into Energy Ball afterwards. So I paralyze it to cripple its speed. I then combine to handle Magnezone. I protect to get some healing off to see what it was going to do. It tries to go for Volt Switch once more. That's okay. I go up to 56. It Volt Switches once more. It gets the crit, which doesn't do too much, but it's more than obnoxious. I go for Calm Mind. I think this is one of my first bigger mistakes of the game. I think my first mistake I forgot to mention is when I went and switched out Garg at the very beginning after Cresselia, I should have sent out to Ting-Lu in the face of Alolan Ninetales. Because if I got out the Stealth Rock at this point, it would have mattered for so many reasons. All the chip damage for all the switching that it was going to do for Magnezone. Yeah, should literally be 25% lower. I think the Stealth Rock would have just changed the pace of this game entirely, especially from when Haxorus comes out again. So he would be at 88% again, and if he ever comes out afterwards, he would be at 76. That is a very key important play because because I do not have the rocks out earlier at this stage of the game, it causes things at the late game to get very sketchy. Now, I go for a second Calm Mind. I was a bit greedy. I should have gone for a Thunder Wave of my own. Knowing that he's going to Volt Switch, everything here nothing wants to get paralyzed, and if he goes into the Chandelier, big whoop. Thunder Wave I felt was just as free or greedy, as you want to call it, as Calm Mind. I also could have gone for a Moonlight. There's many things I should have gone for, but I didn't. And so I now have to take the Earthquake. I get down to low. I also did not Moonlight once more, but I do go for the Thunder Wave. I learned that it has a Lumberry. If I had the earlier Thunder Wave, that would have been so much better. So now I am, because of my greedy Calm Mind, I am now on the back foot, dealing with a Haxorus. So I put in Good Horse, which is max HP, max defense, Spikes, Stealth Rocks, Body Press, and Protect. I get the rocks up finally. I'm allergic to using Good Horse. I am sorry. He goes for Energy Ball. I already learned that it was probably Specs, so I know that I should not be taking this. So I go into Cinderace, knowing that it does not really want to sit out in here. But I lower my special defense, meaning this next Energy Ball is going to do a lot of damage. So I go for the Sucker Punch to get rid of it. And if it's switched, that's fine. I am not choiced, so I can just go back to next. Alright, so this next major play, and why the rocks would have been major useful. If I had the rocks out at this point, he would be at 76%. 76% means what I'm about to do, which may look questionable to most, would make this a guaranteed play. I go for the Sword Stance, thinking that he's going to go for the Dragon Stance because of Mold Breaker. I have 4 Pokemon that is weak to ground, and my other 2 Pokemon aren't exactly happy to see a Haxorus either. So I go for the Sword Stance mostly as a gimmick play, thinking, alright, he's going to go to Dragon Dance and just go for the sweep. He can go for the 6-0 right now. I'm going to go for the Sword Stance, thinking, alright, I'm going to bet it all or nothing because if he goes for the Earthquake, Oh well, Cinderace got the kill on Chandelure. It's done its job. I am not a differential player once more, so I'm okay with the victory as long as the ends justifying the means. So I go for Sword Stance because to me, I think it's a nothing lost play. And if anything, if he does go for the Dragon Stance, which I think he does, and he did, that means I can go for a Sucker Punch, which at this range is an 80% chance to kill. If it was down to 76% health because I got the rocks earlier when instead of sending out Garg, I would have gotten the Sucker Punch out here and it would have killed, no questions asked. There was no roll. Now, mind you, I go for the Protect just to get the healing off. Yes, 80% is very likely. It does absolute minimum damage, which is unfortunate. Maybe it was closer to 70%, but it was very likely to kill. However, the point is null. If I had got the rocks out earlier, I get the Sucker Punch here. It dies. I now have a 79% health plus 2 Cinderace ready to now run it because Pyroball can just run the last 3 of his Pokemon. So, and even including Muck. Muck does not want to take a plus 2 Pyroball. Barring a miss, but I am now Dark, so it's not like he can do a whole lot. Now, I do learn he has Drain Punch, so actually missing would be detrimental, but it's okay. At the very least, it gives me the chance to completely sweep his team. Unfortunately, he lives the Sucker Punch because I do not get rocks out earlier, and because the 20% thing happens. It's okay. He locks himself to Outrage. I am okay with that because I know I can take a hit with Good Horse and then Revenge Kill. He's now down to 3. I'm down to 5. He sends out Furry Bait the Yellow Ninetales, which I realize now he has the Heavy Duty Boots. Okay, so I protect to heal off some health. He goes for Encore, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go heal some more. I'm gonna protect. He goes Baton Pass. Interesting. He goes into Magnezone. I think the worst he's going to do is Flash Cannon, maybe Steel Beam. I'm going to protect, try to go for the double protect. It works. I heal up to more health. I'm now up to 77. He Flash Cannons, I'm now down to 50, but it's okay. The Body Press now kills. Here comes out the Muck. Now, here's another questionable play. I go for the Protect, which makes sense. He goes for Lunge, which I thought was insane. Why does he have Lunge? It lowers your attack. Okay, that makes sense. He goes for Knockoff, gets out of my healing. I go for Spikes. I think literally any other play makes more sense than Spikes. Now, my reasoning was that if he goes into Ninetales and then he does not want to come back into Muck because of all the damage he's going to take, it lets him get into range. Dumb reasoning. Bad Mug. Bad. I should have, like, literally even Body Press would have been better. Sure, it's like, you know, he's going to heal most of it back up, especially Drain Punch. I could have gone into Lilligant. I could have done anything else. Sack off the Cresselia. Like, my reasoning was just to kill off the Good Horse, which, you know, fine, so be it. I mean, it's not doing anything in these last 2 Pokemon. I still think Body Press was better, but I guess if I'm going to kill it off, on the off chance he's going to try to play Switchies with Swapsies with the Muck, fine, go for it. I bring up Beelzebolt, the Belly Bolt, thinking, alright, well, I can't exactly wall it, I can stall it, and hopefully chip it down to the point where I can kill it off with something else. I take a crit gunk shot, so unfortunately, but I get the charge, letting me parabolic charge in return, and we're just slowly whittling each other away. Nothing eventful. He knocks off my healing, so protecting isn't as valuable. And we're just kind of going back and forth healing. This is not exactly the most entertaining. I'll speed it up slightly. He conk shots. I just keep parabolic charging. We're not doing anything of value. It is just a stall war. I wouldn't say stall, but we're just okay. And then he gets a second crit, which now breaks me. Now with the crit, the poison, I am now dead by right. I go Cresselia. I'm faster. I could have Moonlighted, but I didn't. Instead, I Thunderwaved it, so Guard would be faster. I then recover. I'm going to put this back to normal speed. It knocks off my leftovers, so I don't get my residual healing. But it's okay. I get the Soul Cure off. It gets paralyzed, but I don't think it matters in the long run, but it sure does suck. At this point, his Drain Punch is not doing any damage. It's not healing. He dies to Soul Cure. I am now just imperfect points to just kind of carry. He only has, I believe, he's now down to 6 Blizzard PPs. I theoretically could have stayed in and ran out of my recovers up to this point to kill off the the Nine Tails, but instead I said I'm going to stay in until the Encore runs out, and when it does, he's going to try and go for the Encore once more. Knowing that he's going to go for the Encore once more, I'm going to bring in Liliana, which is a choice scarf with sleep powder. I come in knowing it's always going to be faster. I'm going to put on the sleep powder, and at which point it's pretty much GG because I can always get off the Salt Cure without any questions. And with Silk Cure up, it is 1. I can protect the Blizzard. It is now down to 4 PP, but it's just slowly just whittling away and dying from the Soul Cure. I do another Soul Cure, getting away to 27%. It loses another 12 from Soul Cure. It is lost, so I go for the Protect, and it dies using its last Blizzard in vain. And the game has been won. It is not a pretty win, but a win is a win. Unfortunately for Norwalk, the win does not come from them. And to their defense, their computer basically crapped itself. I believe it was their hard drive or something. All in all, like I said last week, I wish we could battle again, whether in the playoffs, whether in finals, or whether just again in casual play. Him with prep time and me not putting all my eggs in one basket because once again, I expected the Uxie, I expected the Basculin, I expected the Titan. Those three Pokemon alone caused me so many more problems. I also expected Conkeldurr because of Defog and the fact that it's a fighting type. And then because it was so tanky, could wall the Cinderace and other means. But it never happened. And he made, if he had a Aurora Veil and this and that and the other thing, so much could have been different. But unfortunately, it wasn't, and that's why I want to rebattle. I want a battle where, where I don't put all my eggs in the basket, and where he, and I'm a bit more prepared, and I put the Earthquake on Tinglu, and I do this and I do that. But I also want a battle so he can have the snow. He has the Aurora Veil. He knows that the fish messes me up, and he doesn't bring the Golem. Instead, he brings the Uxie, and now he has Uxie to mess with me, and I think it'd be a really cool battle to go through. But unfortunately, that's not what happens, and, we'll have to see if we battle again, what will happen. I'm super excited to see what they fight. I actually believe for Week 3, the Norwalk Noiverns and the Pittsburgh Scissors actually face off. So that'll be a very interesting battle to watch. All in all, while I'm not exactly happy with how I battled, and nor I believe Norwalk is happy with how everything turned out, I did learn something, and that's the most important thing. Learning, curing my imposter syndrome, and feeling better about myself. And surely nothing could bad happen next week. With all that said, this has been That One Mug. This is the PBO, hosted by Soaring Flying. Have a great day, and don't